What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you a brand new video and continuing off of the series that I made when I started the season. Obviously, with DFS, my work schedule, stuff like that, it was very hard to come up with content as well for my Dynasty leagues. So during the off season, I'm going to try to have some NHL content, basically betting for it. The DFS scene in NHL is non-existent pretty much. So with that, I'm also going to have Dynasty content as well. Go over some of my rosters, some of the things I learned doing my first year in Dynasty football, and some players I'm looking at, some tips, maybe roster reviews, going over stuff like that. But I don't know exactly what entirely I'm going to do. I'm just going to try to produce more content for you guys, football wise. So let's get into it. So I think I ended up with 9 teams, maybe 10. I can't remember if I actually did 10 or not. I know for sure it was 9. And this is my only championship roster that I had. Had a few that made playoffs, had a few that did not make playoffs, are not in the greatest spot, and it's something that I'm going to have to learn from. Obviously, I'm going to add more teams, going to continue to do more research, listen to some people that have been in the Dynasty scene and, take tips that they've done, see where kind of the community is with players, and see if I can make some trades opposite side, find some value, stuff like that. Just try some new things. But definitely a learning experience. My first year in Dynasty didn't go too crazy with draft picks in some of the leagues. Some of the leagues I kept my picks. Some of the leagues I went in and it didn't pay off. Some, like this league, I went in and it did pay off. And then some teams where I sold off players and am rebuilding and retooling for years to come. But this is my championship roster. So as you can see, it's a Superflex 12 team, half tight end bonus, and then a 6-point touchdown bonus. So usually quarterbacks are 4. This one give an extra 2 points, and then tight ends get a half a point extra for each reception they have, just to make tight ends a little more valuable. Draft capital, as you can see on the screen, I have no first or seconds in the next 2 years. But with that being said, if you look at some of the talent that I have on my roster, I can easily trade if I really wanted to trade some of these players to get some of that draft capital back. Wide receiver wise, that's where I'm very stacked at. I'm very stacked with this team wide receiver wise. Running back, Kamara, Henry, a very good duo there. Some young tight ends in Komet and Isaiah Likely. But yeah, let's go over it. So first, I just want to go over some of the trades that I did throughout the year. Gonna try to keep track of this and go forward. So the first trade I did in this year was I gave away Michael Carter. And this is when Breece Hall went down. And I got Isaiah Likely in a 23 third for Michael Carter. I think that hindsight right now is a very good trade. Michael Carter had some points, but with Knight stepping up, Michael Carter was not what he was last year, and it wasn't because of him, it's just the volume. And then I traded for Derrick Henry and gave away Dameon Pierce in a 23 third. I just went with the guy that I know is going to produce as long as he's the running back for the Titans. Pierce had a really good season as well, and basically that third that I got for Isaiah Likely is what I threw in there as well. The next trade, which was huge, I need another quarterback on this roster, and I got Deshaun Watson. I felt like this is a really good trade, especially right now, for getting someone like Deshaun Watson, his potential of what he once was. You give him an offseason, them figuring out what weapons he needs and stuff like that. I gave up Kadarius Toney, a 23 first and second for Deshaun Watson. Said I felt like that was a pretty good trade, especially now with Brady gone. My only 2 quarterbacks are Watson and Goff, so I might have to figure out situation of acquiring one. I might roll it out until I absolutely need one, but we'll see how that goes. And then someone wanted Brian Robinson and Melvin Gordon. This is, I believe, when Javonte was out or something like that, and Melvin Gordon was the starting running back. So I got a 24 first and second for Brian Robinson and Melvin Gordon. I think that guy kind of overpaid. But in that instance, I was glad to get those guys off my roster, to be honest, and getting a first in return is huge. And then I traded for James Robinson for 24 second. I wanted a running back that I really like. James Robinson. I do think I overpaid in a way with a 24 second. It wasn't a 23, so still time to recover some of that value. But looking back at it, I probably could have gave away a third instead, but I needed another running back at that time, so I did overpay. And then the trade that I think pretty much won me this year was I traded away two 24 firsts and a 24 second, and in return got Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, and Chase Claypool, 3 wide receivers. To the way that the Dynasty community seems is you're stacking up on wide receivers right now, because if you're playing a roster that has 10 to 12 spots, you can run 5 wide receivers. So I felt like that was a really good trade, and the talent that I have at wide receiver right now is crazy. So let's go over the positions, and I'll start at wide receiver, which, like I said, is my strongest suit on this roster. So I have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, and Amari Cooper. All I want to say top 10 wide receivers, if not top 10, top 15. I know Jefferson, Lamb, Adams, and I believe Cooper finished top 10 for sure. Waddle's the only one, but I'm also sure he finished top 10, if not top 15. Brandon Ayuk, who had a really good year as well. And then I have some younger guys as well in Mecole Hardman, which had a really good run until that injury happened, which sucked. Chase Claypool, very young wide receiver. Bears traded a second pick for him. Hopefully next year getting a little more familiar with the offense and then being able to bring in some more personnel to help that offense. Hopefully Claypool pays off a little more next year. And then my depth position wide receivers, Jarvis Landry, Russell Gage, Julio Jones, Van Jefferson, DeAndre Carter, Kenny Galladay, and Anthony Schwartz. Jalen Tolbert being on my taxi squad there. All the guys in green are on my taxi roster right now. And that's my wide receiver position. So very stacked at wide receiver. Very, very stacked. Now I'll go to tight end. So Cole Kmet, I was very high on Cole Kmet this year. I acquired him in almost every league that I could. Very young tight end, being a basically number 1, number 2 target on that offense. Still feel like next year that is a reality. Like I said, just getting more personnel to help him, help all those guys on offense be able to produce more efficient. So Cole Kmet, very young tight end. Austin Hooper, another tight end at the beginning of the year, I thought could have a very decent season, hopefully a top 15 performance out of him. That obviously did not happen. Isaiah Likely, another tight end I was very high on this season. Between Isaiah Likely and Jelani Woods, like you're going to see a lot of Isaiah Likely, Cole Kmet, Jelani Woods. 3 guys that I really tried to get on my rosters. Guys that I like for the future. Likely Woods before this season felt like I could get some really good value if I didn't draft them and trade for him. And then Noah Gray for the Chiefs, just a tight end I picked up. Younger guy, but I needed another tight end just on my roster, especially with Likely being in the my taxi squad. Having Gray down there was just a little more insurance. Not that I expected him to get any points or anything, obviously, with Travis Kelce there, but another guy just in case Kelce were to go down. And now we have running backs. So Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry were my 1-2 punch. Felt very good. Kamara obviously kind of didn't get the volume that we expected. That offense was just ran very poorly, I think, in my opinion, the entire season. But a very good running back to have. Now the situation coming up this year is if he's going to be suspended or not. We'll see how that goes. Derrick Henry is still one of the best running backs in the league. Cam Akers, another running back I had hopes for this season, obviously didn't work out. But then I also got his backup. So if Akers were to be hurt or whatever happened throughout the season, Kyron Williams, who a lot of people like this season, I think was a very it's very hard to get a read on him, and that offense was just another offense that was ran poorly this season. even with Matt Stafford in, just ran poorly. But I had a good run. I had a running back for the Rams who I felt like could get some points this season. Obviously, that didn't happen all the time. Kenyon Drake for Baltimore helped me quite a bit when he was able to start, produce some points. I mentioned James Robinson. And then Snoop Conner was a guy that I drafted in the 4th round of almost any rookie draft, startup drafts. I got him late in drafts. Going into the season, you had Etienne and James Robinson, both guys coming off of huge surgery. So I go, hey, if I can draft this guy in the 4th and Etienne and Robinson aren't where they're supposed to be, or they both get hurt again, he's one of those guys that's going to be there, goal line back, maybe get some touchdowns and stuff like that, and I can return value on him and just get maybe a third during the season. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it's a 4. Like I said, I drafted him almost in every 4th round, stuff like that. Most of the time, he wasn't even drafted, but a guy that I thought I could take advantage of his situation. Didn't pay off yet, but on my taxi, so it really doesn't hurt my roster spots. And then quarterback, I had Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff. Obviously, Brady retiring, so I'm rolling into next season with just Deshaun Watson and Jared Goff. 2 quarterbacks that I can always have play. The only time I'll need to worry is bye weeks and injuries, but I feel like with the roster I have, getting a 3rd and 4th, maybe just picking up a running back and a quarterback in this draft and kind of going from there. I think I don't need to force anything at the quarterback situation right now. Jared Goff, I think a safer play at the quarterback position. Probably not going to, explode and get you 30-point games, but definitely a guy that gets you 15 to 20 points. Anything more than that, I'm okay with. Very safe play at quarterback, and you don't have to pay a whole lot for him. Then Deshaun Watson, like I said, I feel like I got him really cheap before he returned. Now I'm going to have a full offseason with that team where he's able to practice with all the starters. They're able to help him with personnel that he might feel could be more useful than Bell and Anthony Schwartz. Obviously having Amari Cooper and Njoku, they're huge. So that is my situation. Ended up 9-5 on the season, and then pretty much I think I coasted through the playoffs, even the finals. I think I was up 60 going into like the last game, and ended up winning by 20. This team was very, very good. Like I said, my wide receiver core is what carried me to a championship. Obviously, Brady did not have a very good fantasy year. I think it was only 3 games above 20 fantasy points. Finished as quarterback 12, but didn't really explode with points. Jared Goff, like I said, a safe play that I always played. And then Watson did not pay off as well this season, which I'm okay with. But yeah, that wide receiver core definitely won me. The running backs I had helped me out. And then Cole Kmet getting some huge games towards the end of the season also helped me out. So this is, like I said, I'm going to try to go over all my rosters, even the bad ones. Like I'm okay with exposing myself of how bad I did in year 1. Hopefully helping others kind of make it known that it's okay to suck your first year of drafting. But overall, with the roster I have, the draft picks, I still have 4 in the next 2 years. It's not great. I can always trade some of these guys for some 3s, some 4s. I know it's not great value. You want your 1s and 2s, but you can always find some gems in the later of drafts. So, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys have any feedback on some of the things you'd like to see, or comments on the roster, comments on your roster, anything like that, just leave that in the comment section and I will get back to you guys ASAP. Just really looking forward to having this content come out. So hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.